Hello, I'm Patricia McNeely from Twin Flame Body and Twin Flames Merge. I'm located in Chicago, Illinois. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. If you're not, I'm the person to come to. I would sometimes like to think that I'm a little bit like this. I once had this job, and in the job, we fixed cars that had been in accidents, collision repair. But I was in the office, and we always got people back on track and back on the road and back to everything operating correctly. So that was good preparation for me doing this. Today I want to talk to you about your twin flame body, you and your love, because you and your love actually are trying to fit together. That's an ongoing process. It doesn't really stop. In some ways, you should be able to get deeper and deeper with each other, not further and further apart or separate. But it is sometimes described as energetic at times. Why is it felt as energetic, and which makes people think it's imaginary, it's not real? That is not true. The subtle bodies are very tangible. They can be felt, and it is because the angelic body is in transition. The type of body that you once had that does have connections to this physical body is in transition. And this has a lot to do with the primeval versus being integrated and new. What does the word primeval mean? A lot of times we think of ancient forest, ancient land where nobody's been populated. This is a little different than primal. Primal connotes basic survival needs. Primeval means original, like how it first was. So that's the angelic body as it once was versus being integrated with your twin flame body and new. What about men? A lot of people are so curious about the men. What do the men go through? The men go through the same things you do. They may not have the same exact circumstances as you, because it's never exactly the same, but they will have parallel existence, parallel experiences. Okay, what does that mean? That means that maybe if you had an argument with your dad, they would have an argument with, let's say, their boss who was older at work. So you have parallel experiences. You're not supposed to bring those experiences with the outer world in home, into your bodies, or into your home and togetherness, into your physical and metaphysical union. So it's a part of the metaphysical unification process that your body does in order to help you here at the human level. So you'll hear me say these things because I want you to know that you're still you when you've been in an angelic body. You're you here, you're you in this life. And sometimes you feel like, where is your life? Because you're in this weird transition out of the old into the new. Out of the old into the new. That seems to happen a lot, especially as we purge things and we get things out. Now, what about the men? We'll bring it back to the men. The men also are transitioning to a higher love. And what that means is that their bodies have to be capable of holding a high vibration. They have to be able to properly purge things. They can't go looking for old coping mechanisms, and things are on the move. Their heart is very important because men carry really deep levels of a heart connection. This is why you can't go by surface level or by the mask or any of that stuff that you might be aware of now. You have to go very deep. And if you're not able to go deep, I have an exercise in this webinar here, the New Light Body in Transition, where you can begin high heart communication. You can clear interference people from your love bubble. That's what I call it. If someone is entering into your space, so you can genuinely say, this is my space, that is your space. That's yours. This is mine, right? And you don't want people in there. You don't want their energy to interfere. You don't want any of their drama. You don't want the things that they make up in their head or get judgmental about. It can be very, very disturbing or pummeling. Sometimes people feel these interferences like pummeling them at night or buzzing around their head. And they will say, what is that? Why is it? Why do I have to be subjected to this, right? But there are reasons for it, because you yourself have been in a level, and so has your man or your woman. So the males begin transitioning, and in order to have high heart communication, you have to get out of those levels. You can clear interference people from your love bubble using the material that I have in here. It takes putting in some things inside you. And what else? What else? Well, getting rid of addictions. Okay? The angelic body has not wanted to have any addictions. Okay? So you release drugs, alcohol, smoking. What do people smoke? Sometimes it could seem fairly innocuous and very socially acceptable. The mind rationalizes it. The mind will say things like, well, it's not that much smoke, or, well, I've been smoking marijuana, but it's been legalized now. If you have a medical prescription for it, that is not really what I'm talking about here. Though, at some point, your body will want you to wean off of even that, because it won't become necessary. You will need to clear those areas. And take it from me, I'm Irish, but I'm not only Irish, I'm Polish, I'm Swedish, I'm Scottish, I'm Russian. You know, I have a lot of nationalities in there. What do we like to do? We like to drink. Okay, so I have that in my family genetics. Do you have it in yours? Do you have tendencies towards this? Did you grow up with it? Even if you do not indulge, if you grew up in the 50s and 60s, you were probably exposed to a lot of secondhand smoke. That's just how it was. You may have had certain drugs that you tried out. Some of those could be very mild. Some of those could be very toxic. And you may have wondered, did this affect that? Did that affect that? Your body doesn't want any of these outer things to affect you anymore. And not for your physical living together situation. If you are a twin living with your twin, I'm going to just say this as simply as don't drink. You'll lower your vibe, and like they say, just add alcohol, you'll wind up having drama and low conversations. I have had people say to me, well, we have to drink because that's when the other person opens up. If you need alcohol to get the person to open up, that's sort of a red flag right there. So just please know that it's not a requirement. But not only that, you have to begin to be able to do high heart communication. You need to be able to communicate over great distances and short distances, and not use a device to do it, but to use what God gave you, quite literally, because that is part of the gift. And what are some of the other things that people, do? They don't count beer or wine as alcohol. Sorry, but it is. It has alcohol. It has a lower alcohol concentration. So I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm just telling you from my own experience and what I've seen in years of doing sessions for people, what works and what doesn't work. If you can do without it, do without it. If you need it, or it's an addiction, for your twin flame, I strongly recommend that you try my webinar, New Light Body in Transition. This is for the angelic body that wants to get rid of certain things, wants to get rid of interfering energies and people, places, things, and situations. What's that you say? Oh, yes, and another thing. You won't really need this going forward. So it's not like something gets fixed and then you resume it. You actually will not want it. So to give you an example, for me, I can have it around me and it's not really tempting. There are things that disturb me because of my respiratory system. I don't care for cigarette smoke. I never have. I've probably tried it twice in my life. It just was never something that appealed. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help. Okay. So when I say it's my personal preference, that doesn't mean I'm going to be mean about it. That just means that I know what's going to happen, and that people who know themselves, on the inside, just like I knew with drinking alcohol, I would say, I think I've had a little too much, or maybe I need to slow this down, or maybe I need to quit. Okay. But the process between thinking and feeling that about yourself and actually accomplishing it, that is something that I'm well aware of. And so this is why I say, if we go back to the beginning, maybe we never had these things. But over the years, they developed. Over thousands of years, people used them for different purposes. Again, no judgment. But what was that purpose, and is it passé now? Because something that was produced for a ritual and maybe used once a season is very different than a daily use. And people have to acknowledge that. It was no different with my allergy medication. I used to get up and just take the green pill for my allergies, until one day it came where I just kind of said, you know what? I don't think I need to do this anymore. Some people can cold turkey like that, and other people cannot. And if it is your twin flame, you still have to build up the body, because you are going to be holding a very, very high level of love and high energy. So if you are feeling fatigued with some of this, you feel fatigued, you feel kind of oogie, you feel like something is affecting you, you're not sure what, brain fog, you're slow on the uptake, you feel like you want to go to bed, you feel an upset stomach, these are all related. These are all related. So again, this is your opportunity to have what you're here for, to integrate a brand new body, click together, and begin to go into the real life that you're here for, you and your love. So as you're in this transition, please know that this is a really important one. This is very, very important, especially if these are things that can affect you and then have a ripple effect on family, children, etc. So if you have questions, I have this on my site or on the links below at twinflamebody.com. You can email me at twinflamesmerge@gmail.com or twinflamebody@gmail.com. And if you need a private session, the links are below also. I do one-on-one sessions. This is a pre-recorded webinar intended to help you with something that can be seeming beyond whatever you may be aware of. So thanks so much for watching. I hope that you get it, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye now.